Hey there YouTube, it's Eddie from TheVanguardCritic bringing you another episode of Misplays. And in this episode of Misplays we'll be talking about a part of the game map that doesn't really see too much attention. It's the good old damage zone. Back in the olden days, the damage zone basically told you how many hits you could take before you lost the game, and very little more than that. But nowadays, with the cards that have been released, the cards in the damage zone themselves actually play a huge role in how you do in a game. Mainly thanks to cards like these. Seal Dragon, Blockade Inferno, and Prism Promise Labrador are one of the many cards that require what's called Especial Counterblasts. And what those are is that they can only counterblast cards with certain phrases or words in their name. For example, Labrador here can only counterblast cards with Prism in their names. Now, what this changes is that it forces players to pay a lot more attention to their damage zone. And from what I've seen, not many players really do that. If you play a clan like Angel Feather, you're probably really familiar with how to manipulate cards in your damage zone. For example, Angel Feather has cards in their deck that allow the player to return cards from the damage zone back to their hand to use later on. And Angel Feather players would utilize these cards to bring back key units from their damage zone. For example, units that get huge power bonuses, or maybe they're grade locked, and one of the units that they need are that's the appropriate grade is sitting in their damage zone. They can return it to their hand to play later on to escape from the grade lock. And they can also return triggers from their damage zone to their hand to survive longer than they would otherwise be able to. Now Will plays Granblue, and he's been really proactive about damage zone manipulation. He's pretty advanced for our time, I guess, because back when he was doing it, Especial Counterblasts didn't exist. But what Will would do he would heal off cards from the damage zone that he could revive later on in the game. Because, you know, Granblue has a certain mechanic that allows him to call from the drop zone. So let's talk about the misplays that I see nowadays. Let's say your damage zone looks like this. If a player would check a heal trigger, what I would see a lot of people do is that they would just heal off the top card from the damage zone, or they would heal off the bottom card from the damage zone. Yeah. At first glance, it doesn't seem too bad, right? I mean, we've all probably done it at some point or another. It's just easy to just grab the bottom card or the top card and just heal them off. But since a Special Counterblast exists nowadays, if you check a heal trigger and you're running a Special Counterblast, you want to really pay close attention to what cards are in your damage zone. If I healed off either of these two Prism units from my drop zone, then I would have one fewer Prism unit to counterblast later on in the game. So the right play to make here would be to heal off this non-Prism unit, because there's no way I can counterblast it using Labrador's skill. Now, an obvious play. I'm going to switch out the cards here. Say we're playing a different deck. If you're counterblasting cards, and you check a heal trigger, obviously, you want to heal off the counterblasted card, because, I mean, it's face down, it's not doing anything, right? If you healed off this, then you just lost out on one counterblast. So, let's say we check a heal trigger. Let me grab a heal trigger. No, I don't need to grab a heal trigger. Let's say we run Conroe, okay? And we want to use Conroe's skill. Here are the two cards in my damage zone. Both are critical triggers. One is Demonic Dragon Mage Rakshasa. It's just a regular critical trigger that came in the Conroe trial deck. And this is a Seal Dragon critical trigger, Seal Dragon Biella. If I'm using Conroe's skill, the wrong play to make here would be to counterblast my Seal Dragon. Why? Because if I counterblast the Seal Dragon, that's one less Seal Dragon that Blockade Inferno can counterblast later on in the game. So if I'm using Conroe's skill, I want to counterblast the non-Especial Counterblast, if that makes sense. And that allows me to have the maximum number of Especial Counterblasts to use later on in the game. Now, basically, the main message of this video is just to pay more attention to the damage zone. It's no longer a neglected zone, guys. The cards in it play a huge part in the game, mostly because the cards that do require Special Counterblast are really strong. And if you miss out on being able to use their skills because you healed off the wrong card or you counterblasted the wrong card, well, that's your loss because you just made a gigantic misplay. So thanks for watching, guys. Once again, Eddie from the Vanguard Critic, and I will see you guys again later. Bye.